first live podcast. The reason why I'm doing this podcast is because I like to hold myself accountable. If I'm supposed to do something and it falls through, I want to come back and be able to still put on the same, give the same energy, and really talk to everybody. Today's podcast episode is holiday boundaries. Listen, we are all in the throes of the holiday season and understanding what it means to like stand in your fullest self when it comes to protecting your boundaries, particularly with family and the different situations that we sometimes go through. So today I want to welcome you to just a very special holiday season. I had anxiety for a long time when it came to saying yes or no to events because I felt like I had to go to the holiday event. And when my children came along, I decided that if they didn't want to go to a holiday event, I wasn't going to make them go to the holiday event, right? I didn't want them around people they didn't like. I didn't want them around people who didn't like them. I didn't want them around people who were negative or going to be bad influences. And it wasn't a child running the show type of situation. It was really me learning how to find peace with the energy that I wanted my children to be around. It was me being very clear about the kind of chaos I wanted to be a part of. And it was also me deciding that I wanted to choose my family's safety, security, serenity, and just overall mental, like mental health around the holidays, because seasonal depression is so real, and having seasonal depression on top of having the pressure to show up for all of these events and then be very performative, I said I didn't want to do those things. So I want to talk about what it's like to not only stand true in who you are as a person, but also to find spaces where we give ourselves the patience and the grace and the kindness that we need to understand that standing in your boundaries is not disrespectful. It means you're being loyal to yourself. So, before we go straight into the podcast, I want us to take just a few minutes, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and I want you to just pause for a few seconds. If you can sit down, please sit down. If you are standing up, I would love it for you to either stand against a wall, really put your feet together. If you can take off your shoes, put your feet on the floor, baby. I want you to be as close to nature as possible, okay? And then I want you to take a moment, take some super deep breaths. We're going in through our nose. We're holding it. We're holding it. We're holding it. We're holding it. Out our mouths. I want us to loosen those jaws up, baby. Loosen your jaws up. All that tension that's inside of your jaws. I want us to loosen those things. Just let go. Let go. Let go. Let go. Let go. And I want you to take a super deep breath. You see how high your shoulders get? I want you to let that breath out and drop those shoulders as far as you can. Hands to the ground. Hands to the ground. We got our boots on the ground. I want our hands pointed towards the ground, and we want to shake off the day. Shake off the day, because sometimes it can feel so super intense and you could be carrying around so much. Now I want you to put your hands over your stomach, right below your ribs, right? Your rib cage. And I want you to inhale through your nose, and I want you to feel yourself expand your belly from that area. Okay? So we want to go in. We're holding. We're holding. We're holding. We're holding. We're holding. We're holding. We're exhaling. right? And the reason why we're doing that is because we are working on just letting our nervous system know we're okay. We are okay. It's going to be fine. And if it's not going to be fine, we are going to protect ourselves. We are going to provide safety for ourselves. We are here to really just, we're here to connect, find some facts, right? Validate our feelings, and then figure out what we can do next. So, one more breath in. Exhale. Shake those arms off. Okay, so that was our grounding exercise. I love doing things like that. We're holding ourselves safe. We understand that we are whole people. We're allowing ourselves to let go of all of those things that drain us because, baby, I don't know about you, but when I'm drained, I am a tyrant. I am not friendly. I am overwhelmed. I feel like everything and everybody needs to go sit down and shut their whole mouths and let me get myself together, okay? So get your tea, get your coffee, get your glass of wine. For me, I got my little sparkling water. Y'all see, I got my little sparkling water. That's what we doing. I'm addicted to sparkling water. I got to work on myself. And then we're going to start the podcast because we got a lot to talk about. Okay, so why do the holidays hurt? Why do holidays make us feel so uncomfortable, right? But let me tell you this, when you don't have boundaries and you allow people to dictate how your life is moving, your feelings will start to get hurt. And the more your feelings get hurt, you start to get resentful. And because holidays can really be a space where it exposes a lot of the wounds that we thought we healed, or it's exposing the wounds that we haven't worked on yet. And because we've probably moved out of the house, so our family patterns, our household patterns, we've outgrown those things. But when you go back and visit your parents' home, you go back and visit your auntie's home, you go back and visit your sister's home, you may feel obligated to like fall back into your role even when it's uncomfortable for you. And when we shrink ourselves to keep the peace, we don't just like we don't just mess up ourselves emotionally, but we realize that we now have become the victim inside the house again. We're allowing ourselves maybe to be the victim again. And that's not what we want. We don't want to be in a space where we are uncomfortable. We don't want to be in spaces where we aren't heard. We don't want to be in spaces where we are not allowed to be who we are. It's so important, especially a lot of us who have moved out and we're trying to figure out and we're trying to figure out how we want our lives to look in this new stage of healing. You don't have to be the fixer or the strong one, the person who's always trying to keep the peace, the server. That's me. I find myself sometimes falling back into the serving stage so many times because that's just what I know in our family connection. 1 second. Let's see what's happening here. Okay. We're going to keep going with it and see what happens at the end, right? I want us to work on getting out of being the glue for the family, being the emotional sponge, right? You take everything. You take everybody's complaints. You're taking everybody's orders. You're fixing things that you normally wouldn't fix if you were by yourself. And the holidays specifically really can expose the places in your life that you are still trying to work on healing, or that you haven't even addressed healing. The holidays are presented as this very joyful space, right? It's this, everything is supposed to be happy and joyful and anointed, and most of the times we are annoyed and frustrated, and we're lost, and we're trying to figure out how much more money we have to spend, or how much longer we have to be at this apartment, how many more smiles we have to pretend that we're supposed to have. It can be very triggering. And part of the things that it triggers the most are childhood trauma, those toxic relatives that show up that you have spent years not having to be around, unrealistic expectations. Maybe your year didn't go the way you wanted it to go, and now you're supposed to show up and pretend to be something that you're not, when you know deep down inside, or you know deep down inside that's not you, or you have started curating your life in a space where you don't have to pretend, you don't have to act, and now you fall back into that role because you walk back into that family dynamic. Maybe your partner or yourself are going through illnesses, and the holidays is, it's a very able-minded event, right? It's a very able-minded event. When you don't feel good and everybody wants you to pretend like you feel good so that you can make everybody else feel comfortable, very hard. Grief, losing somebody close to the holidays, and or having this be your first, second, or 20th year of not having someone that you truly love and that you truly miss. Maybe you've lost a pet, right? Maybe you lost your job. Maybe you're losing your home. Maybe you've lost a kid, and now people want you to show up and be this happy, curated, Instagrammable version of yourself. And it can bring up so many feelings. It can make you feel like it's not your life. You like looking around like, this cannot be my life. How the hell did I wind up here? How the hell did I wind up here? And the first thing started, we got in the car. And that's not something we should do. So next we're going to talk about what we're carrying with us and why we allow ourselves to stay in these roles when we don't have to. Okay, so today we're going to be naming it so we can navigate through it. I thought that when I was writing this episode, I love journaling. I love apps. I love taking notes. I love when we do journal videos. Sometimes I'll record myself journaling my thoughts because I just don't feel like writing it down. Other times I'll write it down. Sometimes I just need like a moment to reflect, sometimes quiet, and it stays inside of my mind. But if you could grab your journal, however you want to do this, maybe you have a coloring book that's really your thing. It's how you connect with yourself. I'm about whatever way it you use to get into yourself, to like get into your mind and to feel comfortable. That's what I want you to do, because we're going to do some live reflections. We're going to do some live reflections right now. I'm going to ask you some questions. They're emotionally loaded, but they're questions for you. And then we're going to do a little exercise afterwards, because sometimes this stuff can be a little bit heavy and I want us to remember. So exercise 1, answer these when you feel comfortable. Question number 1, what am I afraid will happen this holiday season? What am I afraid will happen this holiday season? Question number 2, what am I tired of pretending doesn't bother me? Boy, I'm tired of, I'm not happy all the time, okay? I'm a little cranky. I'm tired from cooking all day, and I want to sit down. I want to sit down the whole time, but I chose to cook, right? So that's the thing. What role am I expected to play? And do I still want that role? Remember, when we fall back into the roles of negotiator, mediator, the fixer, the plug, right? Sometimes you turn out to be the plug, you know. it is what it is. Sometimes you got to take a little walk with your cousins so you can deal with the holidays. What is my body telling me? This is so important, and we ignore it all the time. We ignore how our body responds to tension, to dread, to heaviness, to exhaustion, also to joy and happiness, elation, and peace. Your body tells you so much. You ever walk into a room and you instantly feel like the pit of your stomach feel funny, or somebody starts talking and you instantly everything feels heavy on your shoulders, or you start getting goosebumps. Sometimes it makes you feel nauseous, or you instantly get a headache. Sometimes you hear that high frequency pitch. It seems like it's the electricity talking to you when it's really just your nervous system and your cardiovascular system. It is overwhelmed and is trying to tell you, hey, we don't want to be here. This isn't a good space for us. I'm stressed out. I'm stressed out. I'm stressed out. And it will keep going, right? Or you just may be the person who, right before you're about to go visit family and or go to a place that you don't feel comfortable in, you just always get sick. Pay attention to how your body responds to the different situations that you put yourself in. And number five, number five, where do I actually want to spend my energy this season? You could just want to watch movies, eat, and have pajamas. You could not want to celebrate the holidays at all, and it's fine. You could want to celebrate the holidays, but you might want to be on vacation. You might not want snow. You might want a beach. You might not want the beach. You might want the snow. You might not want the snow. You want the friends. You might not want the friends. You want the family. I'm just saying, we got it made, baby. There's so many things that we should allow ourselves to do, and we should allow ourselves to feel. I want you to remember that as you are reading these questions, what am I afraid will happen this holiday season? I want you to pause before you respond, right? I want you to take a deep breath and let your nervous system calm down, right? Find clarity in your answer, in your respond. Take ownership in how you respond to your questions. And then I want you to remember that this is where boundaries start. This is how you set boundaries, not only for yourself, but the people around you. And the person who needs to hold their boundaries the strongest is you. Because when you start allowing yourself to be uncomfortable with the boundaries, and I mean that because you'll say, I am not going to their house. And it'll be the 23rd hour. And somebody will call you and be like, it would really just be nice. And you go, oh, all right, boundaries done. Now they don't trust that you are standing 10 toes down and what you believe in. So they're going to violate that boundary next time. They're just going to put more guilt on that plate, more shame on that plate, more woe is me on that plate, because you allowed yourself to be swayed by somebody else and not hold fast with your boundaries, which then teaches yourself that your boundaries don't count and your boundaries 100% count, right? And we forget that. And what does a holiday boundary actually look like, right? What does it actually mean? And do you even know what boundaries are, right? So a boundary is a limit that protects your mental health, your emotional health, your physical health, your financial health, your spiritual well-being, and also your sexual health. Because you may go visit people that's no good for you because it's the holiday season and you don't want to be alone. I'm not calling you out. I'm just saying we got to pay attention to ourselves. And remember that boundaries, it's not a punishment. It's not an attack on anybody. You're not being disrespectful. It's not to cause drama or even reject your family or friends. It's your way of being safe. It's your way of staying safe. It's a version of safety. And you may be keeping people safe from you the same way you're trying to keep yourself safe from them. But we don't think about it like that because we've been told that if we don't want to spend the holidays with our family, we're ungrateful, we're being vindictive, we're being bitchy, we're being selfish, you're not thinking about anybody else. It can be so crazy. And we need to, we have to set boundaries for our safety, or else we won't be able to heal the parts of us that had to do it because we didn't have a choice. Now that you have a choice to set boundaries, you have to make sure that the different versions of yourself that weren't able to set boundaries and hold fast in them are able to see that. And some examples of holiday boundaries may be that you only stay for a couple hours. Like when the an hour and 45 minutes, you have an alarm that goes off on your phone. You got 15 minutes to say goodbye. If you're in a black household, 15 minutes can become 45 real quick, especially if you like your cousin. Um, you let people know that there's certain things you're not discussing. I'm not discussing my relationship. I'm not discussing my weight. I'm not discussing my job. None of those things. I will not give you ammunition to destroy me on a day and a time where I'm already stressful. Um, you don't have to be the host every year. You don't have to be the host every year. You don't have to be the host every year. You you choosing to have a quiet holiday at home. Boundaries. Because maybe you've been overwhelmed, right? You not wanting to cook for 45 people. You knowing that the job is already hard. I barely have any money. I'm stressed out. Now I got to cook for 20 people. Nobody's going to help out. I don't know where the food or the money is coming from. Now I'm stressed out. People are coming. They not stressed out, but they taking doggy bags to go. Ziploc bags, they coming in with Tupperware. No. And leaving if people start getting disrespectful. You're going to have to make yourself uncomfortable when you're setting boundaries. You're going to have to be uncomfortable. You're going to have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable because it's going to initially feel so foreign to you. You're going to get in your car and drive halfway home and start crying and or laugh crying and or laughing and or regretting and or sending a text message about how sorry you are instead of just realizing that you were tapped out. Boundaries is self-love. Boundaries is self-care. Boundaries is you taking care of you, putting your spirit in a safe space, you validating your feelings, wants, needs, and desires, your emotions, and allowing yourself to not only be in the moment, but like tap out when you need to. And that's so very important. So very important. And giving yourself the grace and the kindness to like take a couple deep breaths and sit back and really feel the calm, right? It can be very hard to do that. So, second exercise for this particular episode is we are building our holiday boundary script. You're like, I know what I'm going to say, but do you when grandma starts talking? Do you when your favorite auntie starts talking? No, you don't. You cave. We all do. Our backs are made of steel until grandma starts talking, and then it's made of straw. One piece of straw, and it just bends over, and we can't keep ourselves together. So, again, pull out your journal. Pull out your journal, okay? And the holiday boundary builder. That's what it's called, a holiday boundary builder. I want you to finish these statements. These are statements for you. You finish these statements. I'm just giving you the beginning. Number one, this holiday I need ... This holiday I will not ... To protect my peace, I will limit ... If I feel overwhelmed, my exit plan will be ... Listen, it sounds easy. It sounds easy. But here's some samples of a script. I won't be attending this year, but I hope you all enjoy the holiday. You know that's not going to go over well. Somebody going, right? I am not having this conversation today. Period. Period. I'm not. I'll be leaving at 5 o'clock. I don't care if dinner's ready or not. At 5 o'clock, I gotta go. I'm not even telling you why. I don't have to explain to you why. I'm not available to host this year, but I'd be happy to bring a dish to someone else's house. I need rest, so I won't be joining. For you to have your quiet time, for you to be able to sit down and stay calm and feel peace. And say it out loud before you stand in front of somebody. You got to learn how to say it out loud. Use your big voice, right? Like from the Lion King, you got to learn how to roar. Or you're going like, wow. You don't want to do that to yourself. It will feel so crazy. But learning how to voice your boundaries, it helps shape who you are, how you present yourself. It builds self confidence. You feel like it shouldn't, but it really builds self confidence because inevitably, that should be the word. If it's not, drop a dang girl inside of inside of the comment section. Um, you're gonna have family that's gonna push back. There are gonna be people who they don't understand why you need to be by yourself. They're not gonna understand why you're not showing up. Hey, if I have to suffer, you gotta suffer. That's baby. You know how many times I've heard that. But let me free you right now. People who benefit from you not having boundaries will always push back when you start setting them. People who benefit from you not having boundaries will always push back when you start setting them. I'm just letting you know, baby. That's a song. Da 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 da. Push back. That's what they're gonna be doing. But I want you to hear me. Their discomfort is not your responsibility. Their discomfort is absolutely not your responsibility, right? And when someone challenges your boundaries, repeat them. Get a little bit louder each time. People say be a little calm about it. No, 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 no. Okay? I sent you the text message. You read it. You read it in the voice that you hear in your head. So now I'm going to say it in the voice that I have so that you hear. They say don't argue. Listen to me. Me not responding is me not arguing. If you keep coming at me, I'm going to say something disrespectful. Now, you do not have to justify anything. I am really big on that. It just is what it is. I'm not going to explain it to you. I'm not going to over explain it to you. I'm going to take the space that I need. But this took years for me to get to this place where I can be like, nah, I'm good. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't like that. I don't feel comfortable. It's not my space. I'm sorry I'm going to have to disappoint you. And I'm really comfortable with leaving. My best friend be like, yo, you disappear so fast. It's what I do, baby. It's what I do. Because a boundary that needs defending is simply a boundary you haven't fully, that you don't fully believe in yet. We fight so much to be right instead of just being right, right? I am a person where I'm like, your feelings aren't facts. Nobody likes that. The fact of the matter is that I don't want to stay. You feel like I'm disrespecting you because I don't want to be there. You not being able to articulate your feelings, wants, needs, and desires is causing you to feel frustrated with me because you think that I should be here because we're family. I'm explaining to you that I love you, our family is cool, but this isn't the space that makes me feel safe. It becomes you can see how it can become a very theatrical moment, right? We're having a really, really singing in the rain R&B video right now, and we don't have to do that anymore. We don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to defend your boundaries when you fully believe in them. But that's why I say you have to say it out loud. You have to learn how to talk to yourself out loud so that it makes sense for you. And in that, being able to say how you feel out loud, I want you to remember that when we affirm our boundaries, when we affirm our positions, when we affirm our self-love, when we affirm identity, our confidence, right? When we affirm who we are, what we stand for, and where we want to be, it can be very powerful. So I want you to repeat after me. These are some affirmations that you can use. Write it down in your journey. Your journal, or you can do a vlog for yourself, right? Just record yourself saying it and then go back and look at it. You would be surprised at how, yes, cringy at the beginning, but how much love you'll start showing yourself when you watch yourself back on video. You'll start being like, I really like this girl. Look at him. Oh my God. So our first affirmation is, my peace is my priority. Full stop. My peace is my priority. Say that to yourself 3 or 4 times. Look at yourself in the mirror when you're saying that, or record yourself saying that, and then watch it back. I am allowed to choose environments that make me feel safe. Safety is so important to so many of us, and we allow ourselves to be in spaces that don't make us feel safe and that set off every nerve in our body that wants to leave. I do not have to tolerate disrespect, not even from my family. You're going to have to leave somebody today because of how they talk to you and how disrespectful they are. And it's not going to be easy, but you're going to look at yourself down the road and realize how strong and how much love you had for yourself. It's so important. Guilt is not a sign that I'm wrong. It's a sign that I'm healing. Sometimes you feel guilty when you tell people now, right? Because you're like, you've believed this thing for so long and you have to unlearn these lessons that you were taught. And the point of healing is that we're never going to be fully healed. We're always going to be at a space where we're trying to figure out if we're doing the right thing, which means that you're on the right path when you keep questioning how things are moving. I honor my needs without apology. I can't show up. I catch you next time. This holiday season belongs to me. Sometimes you need to take a seat by yourself. I don't know how many times I knew I was going to be a full-fledged bitch. Okay? I felt it in my soul when I woke up. I could feel it coming down. And I said, I'm going to be by myself for a little bit. I'm going to go sit down because nobody deserves what's happening. Nobody. I've released what drains me. You're not cooking for 20 people. I can bring a dish, though. We can do potluck. Potluck's great. I choose rest, peace, and emotional safety. I may not be able to be around that family member. You guys can do it, but I'm warning you that I won't be a part of it. And that can be so hard. I'm not saying that any of these things are easy. For some people, it is. They've decided, listen, you already don't like me. Let me step in these boundaries, baby. Let me put on these new Louis Vuitton boundaries and show you something. Ooh, let me get myself together. All right. So here's the challenge for this podcast episode, right? I want you to pick one boundary from our exercises, and I want you to really work on it. I want you to write a sticky note to yourself in a place that you can see it and write it every day. So that boundary that you pick from one of those exercises that we did, I want you to write it on a sticky note and place it somewhere that you can see it every day. And then I want you to say it out loud. I want you to get used to saying it with your chest. Okay. Say it with your chest. I want you to start believing in yourself and believing what you're saying out your mouth. It builds so much confidence, so much confidence. I want you to figure out what boundaries hold you accountable for the part that you play in this, and what boundaries hold other people accountable for the role that they play in this. Because we have to be very honest with ourselves. Sometimes we've played a role for so long that we don't know how to not play the role. We don't know how to not do it. So we stay in spaces that don't belong to us, or we keep doing things that don't belong to us because we think that's what we're supposed to do. And I want you to choose one thing this holiday season that's just for you, not for anybody else. I want you to choose a book, choose a bath, choose a car ride, choose a meal, choose a prayer, choose an affirmation, choose a mantra, choose a style, choose a wig, choose something that is just for you that makes you so happy and so joyful, right? Because peace is not a seasonal thing. You have to teach yourself how to find peace throughout the whole year. And healing is not an option anymore. You have to heal in order to find confidence and to affirm your self identity, in order to find your self esteem, in order to walk fully in who you are and who you are becoming. And your boundaries, it's your birthright. You're allowed to set boundaries. We're just taught we're not supposed to do that, but we're the United States of America, and they don't have boundaries because they want us to just do what they say, and we just been passing it along through the family trifecta. It can be real disrespectful. And I want to thank you guys for being a part of this live session with me, because you didn't have to be. You did not have to be. And I'm excited that this is my first live, because I'm so big on boundaries. I set a boundary and I don't even look back no more. I mean, like, you feel uncomfortable? I'm really sorry about that. But I would feel worse if I allowed myself to violate a boundary and then you to walk on that boundary, because I know I'm never going to get that bit of that leeway back ever again. And I want you to work on finding your softness and your peace, and being very honest with yourself when you're at your wit's end. Sometimes you just have to say no. And then you have to learn how to stand very tall in your decisions to say no. No. Nada. No thank you. I don't think so. Not gonna be for me. I'm just saying. Until next time, I'm your girl Lovely Brown. Take care of yourself, and remember, we're learning how to articulate our feelings, wants, needs, and desires so that we can better advocate for ourselves and the people that we love. Please share this with someone that you love and become a part of our wonderful community, because we are choosing confidence over fear. And we're letting fear propel us to do great things, right? When you feel fearful about certain things, it makes you want to be better. And since we're all divine and God has chosen us to be divine, how can we not shine, right? I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Lovely out. Da-da.